Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and this might sound like a very jaded title, but I'm kind of almost done with like the whole PC gaming front at this point, and this might sound really extreme, but let me get things started. I've always pretty much said for the last year that most of my PC gaming, 99% of it, was strictly just emulators. And if that makes you wonder why, it's due to the fact that I don't really play a whole heck of a lot of modern AAA gaming anyways. I think honestly last month was a real good showcase as to why I don't jump onto the AAA bandwagon as much as somebody else would who isn't that jaded with gaming. You know, with PC gaming, you can buy some of the highest end hardware. For instance, I have some really good hardware. Here, I'll show you my PC specs right now, not sort of as a flex at this point, but as a way to showcase, if I'm getting these problems, imagine other individuals in this entire branch. So I've got a pretty decent processor, I think, a Ryzen 9 5950X. I'm sure there's probably 4 or 5 other processors that beat this one out there. But I like to think as far as the CPU end goes, I'm pretty much on the higher end. I've also got an RTX 3090 and a 3070 Ti. Why? I use virtual machines, I pass through graphic cards to different operating systems. But I have 2 pretty decent graphic cards, okay? 2 GPUs that I had to definitely bend over, spread my cheeks, and get that way. You want to try to get a graphic card these days? You want to get any PC component and have it at a decent price? Good luck, okay? If you can find things at retail, you won the lottery, okay? You literally are filming a new Indiana Jones movie at that point. If you're paying a scalper, dude, I don't even blame you at this point. There are people out there buying Ayla malware computers, pre-built gaming computers, just to salvage the graphic card out of it, okay? That's how bad some of these things have gotten. Is it gonna get better? I don't know. Are the prices gonna get better? Hell no! You think once you gave Nvidia the pound of flesh now, or AMD, you think they're gonna lower their prices now? They already know they can twist your nipples. Why not go even further, buckos? Let's milk it all the way through. So I mostly play emulators these days, and really a lot of it is due to the fact that I was playing Final Fantasy X not too long ago, which is an absolute brilliant, beautiful game, okay? The soundtrack to that might be probably my favorite Final Fantasy soundtrack ever. And, you know, that being said, I had a good time. This is an era of gaming from the PS2, PS3, where the games had to launch, okay? There was no internet infrastructure back then where you could day one patch everything. You didn't just stick a disc in and before you launched it, the game said, 60 gigabyte download. Hey, the whole game is fucked from day one. Might as well patch a little bit, call it a day. Though there wasn't anything like that, okay? The game had to be complete. Nowadays, with a lot of games, like recently Battlefield launched out, and I had a decent time with that game, but let's be honest, okay? With the specs I just showed you on my computer, should that game be running anywhere under 60 frames per second? No, if that game touches 50 frames like it did the time I was playing, we got problems, okay? When the netcode doesn't register bullets to the face, we got problems, okay? You know, when Call of Duty Vanguard is the only game out of the entire AAA shooter gauntlet that was working properly, we got problems. Halo Infinite's been a decent game, okay? I haven't finished the campaign yet. I honestly can't be bothered to it. I don't enjoy it that much. The multiplayer is pretty dandy. When I was playing the open world of Halo Infinite's campaign, the fact that it dropped to 40 frames per second on a 3090 for some reason, we got problems, okay? Meaning that no matter how high-end of PC hardware you buy, you tend to have technical issues kick in. And there's no shame in admitting that, okay? Let's be honest. There are positives and negatives to each side of gaming. I'm more of a console gamer these days, okay? I mostly play on the PlayStation 5. I mostly play on an Xbox if I have to. Why? That's because it's the only systems now where I don't have to run into severe technical issues at day one. I put the disc in, it'll do a little patchy patch, and I'll launch the game and it'll run either at 30 frames or it'll hit 60 frames. And I've had a solid experience for a good long while. You know, with PC gaming in my experience lately, you can buy some of these AAA games lately, you can buy any of this stuff, and you pay the same price you would on a PlayStation, but somehow developers are still insistent on giving a inferior experience for some goddamn reason. Okay, let me give you an example here real quick. Okay, I buy games physically. Okay, like for instance Ratchet and Clank. In fact, here's some Mass Effect Legendary Edition, one of my favorite games of 2021. If I pay $60, I want to have a disc. I pay $60 to play on a PC game for game, and I'm buying a digital key, meaning I don't even own the game. It exists on some server outside of my control. When I buy a game on disc, I open it up and it usually has like one or two discs, depending on how big and meaty it is. I don't need an internet connection, okay? I stick this in the PlayStation, it installs, I can play the game from start to finish without ever requiring internet. I own the game. I can let my friend borrow it. I can choose to, I don't know, sell it later on when I'm not playing it. I can do a million things. With the PC side, all right, most of it is relegated to digital stores. And once you buy a game, and you're out of that refund period, and they happen to patch the ever-loving hell out of it, and it turns to be a giant lemon, good luck going forward. Which is why most of my PC gaming is relegated to emulation and a whole lot of indie games. I bought a bunch of indie games the other day and I was having a solid time because it seems like the indie market actually cares about developing games for all the platforms they release on. And this is a big pet peeve. If you follow my channel, you know that I talk about this a whole heck of a lot. When one side is paying the same price as the other side, they should have an equivalent experience. There should be no reason that developers and publishers crap out on individuals. You know one feature that works absolutely flawlessly on PC? All right, when the game launches like technical shit, look for the store section in any of these games. Look for the microtransaction hub. Look for the battle pass. 99.9 fucking percent of the time, the store functionality, oh, that works. Trust me, day one, when a game launches, if the store functionality works, it shouldn't surprise you. That's all anyone cares about these days. How can we get these dipshits to spend even more than the $60 they paid for? Make sure the skin store works out like no tomorrow. You know, back in the day, not even that back in the day, like a decade ago, when you bought a game, that game was complete, okay? Halo Infinite, when you buy that game, it's not complete. It's a campaign, it's a multiplayer. Where's the firefight? Where's the forge? Where's really half of the game functionality? I don't know, fuck if I know, maybe it'll be there at some point, who cares? But I think egregiously what really made me make this video was Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, FF7 Remake is a solid, absolute banger of a game. And I enjoy it to the point where I'm replaying it again, you know? I loved it when it came out on the PS4. I figured, hey, it's coming out on the PC. I'm gonna buy it, I'm gonna play it on ultra-wide, have a good time. And no, my expectations were dashed completely. Now, last I checked, Final Fantasy VII Remake wasn't exactly an indie game, you know? It wasn't exactly something that was coming out from, like, some independent developer in their basement trying to crap out a game. You know, this is a big budget AAA title. You know, Square Enix is on this, okay? You think, man, maybe there would be some quality attached to it. So let's get down the rabbit hole here. So this was announced and recently released for $93. This is Canadian, okay? This is like $70 American, okay? The prices have went up by $10. Now, I remember Tim Sweeney telling me that, oh, Epic Games, we're going to make sure that the saving, I think he was talking about the savings being passed on to the consumer, right? He was talking a whole heck of a lot. Let me dig up some old tweets real quick. Speaking to Ars Technica, though, Epic co-founder and CEO Tim Sweeney says that players should look forward to paying less on the Epic Game Store in the future. While Epic leaves pricing decisions completely in developers' hands, Sweeney said after you go through several cycles of game developers making decisions, you're going to see lower prices developers pass the savings on to customers. What a fucking lie, by the way, okay? The fact that this piece of shit costs $93 and it's launched in the state that it has is a testament to how bad the industry is when it comes to gouging the consumers they choose to cater. So let's get down over here, okay? This is the game's settings screen, okay? This is FF7 settings. Now, for a PC gamer, okay, this settings screen is absolutely pitifully embarrassing. I think, I honestly, like, the worst screen I saw before this was, like, Resident Evil 6. Now, for PC games, especially those built on Unreal Engine 4, like FF7 Remake has, you typically have a bevy of options, okay? A lot of options for you to optimize these systems. Because here's the thing about PC games. Hardware comes in a million shapes and forms. There's high-end stuff, there's low-end stuff. The settings here are designed so you can cater the game to that specific system. When you have less settings, it becomes more of an issue running it on any sort of system to begin with. Whereas a console like a PlayStation or an Xbox, there's only like 3 or 4 different hardware permutations. So a developer can sit down and just fine-tune it for a specific system or the other. Sometimes they don't even do that, but that's the key difference, okay? Now here you can see that they've got a display mode, which is whatever, that's normal screen resolution. This turns out to be a lie, because the game apparently has some onboard dynamic resolution scaler that the higher you set it, and the higher the frame rate is, the blurrier the game can actually be, because it's trying to make sure it hits its target, while forgetting that, hey, I have a graphic card that's several magnitudes better than what I was originally rendering at on the PlayStation 4 and the the PlayStation 4 in general. This game was never an Xbox release. Then you also have texture resolution, like, wow, congratulations, boys. We have a choice to pick which assets to load in. The PS5 ones or the PS4 ones. Good job. Shadow resolution? Oh man, don't even give me that. Come on now. Frame rate. Again, you can run the game up to 120. I thought I was going to be doing this, but it turns out the game is just a blurry dog shit of a game because they didn't even manage to make it run natively at that resolution continuously, despite, again, having faster graphic cards. What the fuck? Then you have characters displayed. This setting, by the way, only matters like 3 times in the story when you go to like 2 town sections and they actually give you a semi-open world with people walking around. That's the only time that setting ever mattered. Then you have dynamic range, because, I mean, I guess everyone just has an HDR monitor on display. No, that setting was prioritized over a bunch of other ones. You want to know why they put that in there? Because they already had the HDR pipeline. It didn't matter. Then, of course, you got brightness, luminance, UI. That's it. That's all the settings. That's it. And not only that, I wouldn't even care if the game didn't stutter and lag like we've been seeing it do the entire time. You know, for somebody that's primarily a single-player only gamer, all right, whenever I see this kind of stuff, even on single-player games, I'm completely baffled, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, for the price tag that I just showed you, this game should have had Cloud come out and give me fellatio, okay? Not make me sit there and lock the game down to arbitrary system settings. You want to play this game ultra-wide? It doesn't work like that. The game doesn't have ultra-wide support. It doesn't. For that price, dude, this game should have had like triple ultra-wide support, but it doesn't do that. And you might be like, but Muya, not everyone has something like that. That was the beauty of PC gaming, okay? You could tailor it with the graphic settings to almost every single setting you had, to almost every single system you were getting, okay? You could have done that. You can't even do that here. Okay, this is the state of AAA gaming now. These multi-billion-dollar making publishers could care less about the experience anymore. But if this game had a microtransaction store, if you could buy skins for Cloud's Buster Sword, I guarantee you it would work day one out of the box. That's how bad it is. You know, man, I've learned something these days, okay? I've learned something. Never to get your goddamn hopes up, especially when it comes to this land of it. But, you know, this might sound really hyperbolic still, but this has been like a rant, and this has been like a feeling that's been brewing inside me for a while, alright? You know, am I jaded from gaming? Absolutely not. But as a PC gamer that's been around here for like basically a decade plus, it's always shocking to me every time I come across these AAA developers finding a new way to fist me up my rectum every time. And you know what? I'm just done with it, okay? I'm done with all of it. I'm not going to sit here fighting with graphic settings. I'm not going to sit here fuddling around with INI pages. I'm not going to sit here installing reshade just to get the most basic thing going. It's not how it works, okay? And it shouldn't be. You know, it should have been as simple as download the game from Steam or whatever launcher you're using. I don't even care about the launcher. Download it from there, hit the big launch button, and it should just work day one, especially for the prices that I'm being charged. And if you want to disagree with that, you're a cuck. Okay, I'm sorry about that, okay? You're willing to pay these prices and still take it up the ass? I'm just saying, it's wrong. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end the video off there. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. I am out.